So the birds are migrating south. It's always a good sign of a change in season around here. But if the birds are going south, should we be looking to migrate? Should we be looking to get ready for the winter season? I think we should. It's called the flight to safety. I'm not talking about transitioning from fall to winter in the proverbial way. I'm talking about the financial seasons. We must prepare for the change in seasons. And how do we do that? Well, historically, it's been the flight to safety, the migration from risky assets to safe assets. I mean, come on, what goes up must go down. And that's what you're going to see. The change into the winter season is upon us. The world is changing. Geopolitics are changing dramatically. And right now, the financial markets are about to undergo a massive shift. Are you ready? Because right now we are getting a really good glimpse of what this is going to look like. Now, some people are incredibly optimistic about this, and other people, well, they're just straight terrified. Now, it's only been a couple weeks since Trump won the election, but the markets are showing signs of just incredible optimism. I mean, look at some of these articles. Stock market is soaring after Trump's nomination. The Dow soars 1,500 points to record highs to its best day since 2022 after Trump's election win. A once-in-a-century election market rally. Global crypto market tops $3 trillion on hopes of a Trump-fueled boom. I mean, come on, the Federal Reserve cut interest rates days after the election of Trump. There's peace talks that are back on the table. Netanyahu offers Trump a gift of Lebanon's ceasefire talks, despite most Israelis are disagreeing with that. Hamas is ready for a ceasefire in the war-hit Gaza. Trump threatens to be good for Ukraine. Actually, Putin congratulates Trump on his election victory in his first public comments on the U.S. vote. My name's Chris Naugle, and this is What Now? And what's next for your season, Jim? So let's dive right in. No wasting of time here. I know everybody's excited about the Trump win. So am I. The markets are showing it. Crypto, holy crap, went off the charts. I mean, it's going to the moon, right? Well, calm yourself. I've done video after video showing you what happens after an election. Yes, this is just a post-election boom, and it will not last because the seasons are shifting, and you can see it all around us. From geopolitical changes to tensions overseas to ceasefire talks. I mean, there is so much information to digest, but only one thing matters, and that is, what is your flight to safety? Because you're gonna need one. I know I talked about all the optimism. I talked about the markets booming and the crypto booming, but now let's talk about the other side of the coin. And that is the stuff you're not seeing in the news, like this article right here, which I think you should pay super close attention to. Banks are unloading bonds at an alarming rate. Now, when I saw this article, I knew exactly what was going on. Why would the banks be unloading bonds at an alarming rate? And when has this happened in the past? Well, have you watched the movie Margin Call? Or how about the movie The Big Short? Were banks, institutions, and all those investment banks unloading bonds to the public right before the Great Recession? Yes, they were. And the same thing is happening again. Right here, we have to look at why are banks unloading bonds. But also, we have to look at how bonds are reacting to Trump's plans and how that's overshadowing because the Fed just cut rates, which means long-term bonds should be going up, but they are not. Yields are going up and the bond prices are going down, which is really not in line. But it is if you understand the next layer. And that's what this is talking about. This article right here is basically telling you what the future is going to be by looking at what's happening to 10-year Treasury yields and why they are surging. So a lot of people are asking the question, should I unload all of my long-term bonds? You all know that I've been talking about these treasury bonds and how they're a safe haven and how when the rates go down, the bond prices go up. But what you're seeing is the exact opposite of what I've been saying. But stop. What I've been saying is right. What you are seeing is just telltale signs that we are moving into a dark era, a winter season where the sun doesn't shine as much as it did during summer. So this article right here tells all. Right here, Reuters says, prospects of a near-term rebound in the $28 trillion U.S. government bond market are faltering as Donald Trump's return to the White House is expected to usher in financial expansion and policies that definitely will temper the extent of the Federal Reserve's rate cuts. It's telling you what's going to happen. The Fed dropped rates, but the market is not reacting in normal ways. But I urge you to really look at this article right here from Bankrate. Trump election sends bond markets falling. Is this a good time to sell long-term bonds? No. This is a great time to buy long-term bonds because as everybody else is unloading treasury bonds because the prices are going down, what should you be doing? In comes Mr. Warren Buffett. Buy low, sell high. That's what he's been doing. He's been selling off so much stock in his portfolio, sitting on a portfolio of cash of over $325 billion. So what is he doing? He's selling, but he's getting ready to buy. And if you really look at Warren Buffett's portfolio, he's been bulking up on treasury bonds because he's buying them at a discount, just like you should. So sometimes when you read the news, you have to understand that the news isn't telling you the whole story unless you go a layer or two deeper. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Don't be alarmed that the bond prices are falling. Be excited that you're buying them for less. Now, let's talk a little bit about the BRICS. This article right here actually scared the living crap out of me. And I wasn't following the BRICS. I've been so caught up in our elections, really wasn't paying attention to what's going on overseas. The BRICS are back at it. This article right here is basically saying that the GDP of the BRICS nations exceeds the G7 nations. So think about that. This is the first time this has happened, at least as far as I'm aware. President Vladimir Putin highlights the rising economic influence of the BRICS nations, saying that their combined GDP of the BRICS now exceeds 60 trillion, surpassing that of the G7 countries. Now, I don't like to believe the news, but that certainly opens up some room for me to ask more questions about this. Is the BRICS really a force? Are the BRICS really a force to be reckoned with? Well, right here, if you can look at this article coming in from Reuters again, Russia calls on the BRICS partners to create alternatives to the IMF. Now, some of you watching this, you're like, I don't even know what any of this is, but if you just read a few of the articles, you will understand. Now, the BRICS consists of Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and is expanded into South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. So when you put all them together, their GDP is a force to be reckoned with. And I make no two ways about it. They are probably going to try to challenge the United States dollar. And let's not forget, the Fed's #1 job is to protect the dollar at any cost. That's their #1 job. And one final article with some graphics here, this one from Yahoo Finance. IMF sees growth shift towards BRIC and away from G7 in the new outlook. Look at this right here. China 21.7, India 14.8, United States 11.6. Are we losing our stronghold in the world? Are we literally giving it up to the BRICS? Well, I'm sure Donald Trump is going to step in and say, no freaking way. However, it's yes way right now because these are the numbers. So I think the thing you're probably asking, folks, is what's in store for 2025? I can't tell you exactly, but I can tell you you probably should prepare for some downside. You should prepare for the winter season. You should take cover and preserve your capital. They call it preservation of principal. Stop focusing on growing, growing, growing. We have gone through the longest period of time, at least in my life, of greed, of thinking it's going up, 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 and up. And now we're going to start to see that is not going to be the case in the near term. In 2025, you can expect more downside than you can upside. And I know Trump's going to be good for everything. Yes, there's a lot of good about that. Trump will be good. This new leadership will be good for economics, energy, infrastructure, immigration, foreign affairs, manufacturing, and even healthcare. Peace talks, again, they're back on the table. We've been going through a period of time where we've heard nothing about peace in the world. And now all of a sudden Trump gets elected. Notice my hands, I'm doing the Trump hands. Now there is peace talks happening all around. Why? And not only that, the markets are soaring. Why? Excitement for the administration. And the administration will be good for so many things, but the administration can do nothing about the economic cycles, the financial seasons that this video is here to talk about. And that is what I'm trying to prepare you for, and that is what I'm trying to protect you from. And with that being said, this is a great time for me to ask a little something from you, and that is to ask you to click that little button, that subscribe button, hit that button, and right above there's a little bell. Smash that bell so that you're notified every time I put new content out. There goes the water in my glasses. Oh my goodness. So we just spent a bunch of time talking about the good. We talked a little bit about the bad, but let me do a rapid fire to show you the bad. Now we talked about the BRICS. We talked about their GDP rivaling and exceeding the G7. Now, here's some more bad. The Fed. Trump has come out and said he is going after the Fed. Is he going to fire Jerome Powell? Can he fire Jerome Powell? I mean, the Fed isn't owned by the United States government. They're independent. We don't even know who runs the Fed. But is he going to fire the Fed? This article talks about that. I don't know if that's such a good idea, but hey, why not, right? But let's keep going with this. The BRICS unveil a long-awaited payment system at the new summit. Ooh. What do they got? They got like a PayPal? What is this new payment system? Well, it's a way for people to not use the dollar is really what they're trying to do. They're trying to take the dollar off the throne and dethrone us, the United States of America. Trump will never stand for that, but is it too late? That's the real question. But let's just wrap this up with a pretty little bow tie and talk about the ugly. We hit the good, we hit the bad, and now is the ugly. Now, I've already kind of talked about this, and the things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. I think they'll get better faster, but the ugly part about this I talked about when I showed a video right here, and I hit it in this video, and I love this video. It says, time is running out. Once the election is over, so is the economy. And it doesn't matter who wins the election. The post-rally, okay, great. Take your gains off the table, because right here, economics and how they work is independent of elections. Yes, swayed by elections. Yes, swayed by whatever administration's in. However, contrary to so many of the other gurus here on YouTube, I wouldn't be super excited because Trump won. Look, there's no secret to it. I like Trump, and I am very happy Trump's in office. However, to make change, it takes policies, and policies take time to implement, and that is where you're going to see the problem. Time. In time, things will get better, but you know what? This is like the Titanic hitting the iceberg. First, they saw the iceberg and identified, we got a problem. They steered away from it, but they still grazed it, and the ship is taking on water. The United States is the Titanic that is taking on water. Can Trump's policies save us from sinking when the G7 is not as strong as it used to be? And the BRICS are coming in with a vengeance. These are real concerns, but real concerns that hit your pocketbook. Your pocketbook being your retirement savings, your investments. If you keep on the path that most of you are on with staying invested, thinking the long haul is the best haul, which it will be fine, but can you handle the heat in the kitchen is the real question. The policies will take time, and that's all I'm telling you. you need to buy time. You need to get out of the markets. You need to take your gains now, preserve your principal, and get ready like Warren Buffett is. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just telling you, follow big money. Follow the banks. The banks, you can see what they're doing. They're unloading risky assets. So is Warren Buffett. He is unloading and sitting in cash, waiting, patiently waiting for the opportunity of his lifetime. $325+ billion is what Warren Buffett's sitting on in cash. And Warren Buffett, make no two ways about it, is one of the best fundamental investors of our lifetime. But Warren Buffett is also a patient man that follows principles and tells everybody the same things he knows to be true, and that is buy low, sell high, and you don't lose money. What does he know that you don't? So this brings up a very unique little circumstance right here. We are entering a deleveraging period of time, and it will be a couple of years. Let's call it 3 years while we deleverage, and maybe it will be a beautiful deleveraging period, as Ray Dalio awesomely described in his video how the economic machine works. That video is right here. I'm just going to show it to you. Please check that video out. It literally is the most accurate depiction of what is happening now with the BRICS, with G7, with deleveraging, a new president-elect. Everything is playing out exactly how that video portrayed it. And productivity is about to take a hit. Matter of fact, it's not about to, it already is. You're seeing it in the unemployment numbers, you're seeing it in future outlooks from all these companies. You are seeing it firsthand. For the first time that I've been doing this, I can literally almost predict the next 4 years. I can show you, but don't take my word for it. Take Ray Dalio's word for it and how he explains the long-term debt cycle, the short-term debt cycle in the economic machine. It's happening right now. One last thing. Everybody right now wants to talk about tariffs. Now, I've already done a video, actually several videos on tariffs. And what is that going to mean? Well, it's going to mean productivity decline. It's going to mean less jobs until those jobs come back here. So we are going to go through a period where it's going to go down and then it's going to come back up, and it's going to be glorious when it comes back up. But we gotta pay the price today to benefit later. And people don't want to do that. They want the best of everything right here, right now, and that has consequences. Things aren't always gonna be good. We have to go through the hard times to get to the good times. And unfortunately, we've been in good times for too long, and hard times create strong men and women, says Stephen Arneo's book, Hard Times Create Strong Men. But I feel like it's my job to make all of you victorious. And it is such a simple map. It is so easy to see what you should do, but what's not easy is actually doing it, because it's going to fight everything that you have in your mind, and it's going to fight your emotions. And emotions are powerful, because what we need now is pure logic. If we know we're going to deleverage, if we know we're going to ride this thing down, what is the most obvious thing to do? Follow Warren Buffett's lead. The most obvious thing to do is get ready for the winter season. And how do you do that? First step. So I'm going to give you 5 steps on how to do this. Number 1, start working on paying off debt. I hear people all the time tell me, well, how do I pay off debt if I live paycheck to paycheck? Well, that's a good question. Get a second job. Find a side hustle. Find a way to make more money and focus that money, not on spending more, but on paying off debt. Look at your personal financial statement, which is your budget. Look at it, and what can you cut? Do you really need Netflix? Do you need this? Do you need that? I hate to say this because this is kind of a Dave Ramsey thing, but do you really need Starbucks, or can you make your own coffee at home? Find ways to cut your budget down so you can get rid of debt. That's step number 1. Once you pay down debt, step number 2 is to save money. You must start saving. And how are you going to save it? Well, there's lots of safe places like bank accounts, savings accounts, high yield savings accounts, money markets, specially designed and engineered whole life. I can give you a whole slew of places, but the first thing that matters is you must save money. Number 2. Number 3, get out of risky assets. Let me repeat that because a lot of people don't hear that. Get out of risky assets. If you've got a 401k and you're in stocks, riskier stocks, get out and move your money to the safe places inside your 401k. And let me just pause real quick because there's one really important thing about those first 3 lessons, those first 3 rules that I'm giving you. When you start saving money, you can take that savings and double down on paying off debt. Because remember in the beginning, I said the first thing, get rid of debt. Pay down debt. Take the money from the debt you've paid down, okay? The money you freed up that you used to give away, that now becomes your savings. So a lot of people, when I say save, they're like, I can't, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. You can if you start learning how to build wealth through your debts and expenses you already have. If you pay off a debt, doesn't matter what debt it is, start with the lowest balance, pay that off. Let's say it frees up $50, that's $50 you can now put into a savings account. But let me give you a piece of advice. Don't try to save using your regular checking account where you pay all your bills. Open up a second account. If it's a specially designed and engineered whole life, we'll cover that in a second. Maybe just a second bank account at a different bank that you don't have as much access to. Have that $50 go into that segregated account. Let it build there. Every quarter, take the money that built up, which is just money you were giving away, repurpose it to pay down the next debt, and then recapture the money. It's a circle, folks. Money that you save pays down debt. Money that's created from paying down debt, because it's money you used to give away that you no longer have to, recycles and recaptures back into the original source, your segregated account. This is how you build wealth without having to work harder, work longer, or take on any more risk. Because right now is not the time to take on more risk to build your assets. Right now is the time to hunker down and get rid of the holes. Get rid of the holes in your boat. Pay off the debts. Sorry, I went deep into that, but it's so important. Because number 4 is banking. You must learn how to be your own bank so that you can take back control of the money. I just showed you how to do that a second ago, but let's go one layer deeper. When you're saving and you're recycling and recapturing money that you were giving away, what you need to do is apply banking functions and take them back into your life. So if you used to give money away on a credit card and you're now paying yourself back that money that you were giving away, what is your return? Well, if your credit card was 20% and you're paying yourself back the same amount you were giving the credit card, are you not making 20% on your money? I find people all the time that want to go out there and buy Bitcoin, buy crypto, buy stocks like the S&P 500, take on all this risk with the hope of making 20+% when they were giving 20% away on their debts. You see how simple this is? If you just reverse your thoughts about how you interpret or how you look at banking, that's what you need. You need to be your own bank. And the 5th and final thing, when you've accomplished all 4 of those other steps, what you need to do is apply the infinite banking concepts to your life, which is banking. But now let's add a specially designed and engineered whole life as the funding mechanism. Let's not use banks to hold our money because they're going to make the spread. Let's change one thing, and that is where your savings goes first. Then we apply the banking functions and we use the infinite banking concept to move money. Then we recapture money, but now the recaptured money comes back into the whole life, not the bank account, and you will earn uninterrupted compounding interest on every dollar you ever save in that mechanism. This is just mathematics, but this is applying the 8th wonder of the world, says Albert Einstein, and that is called compounding interest. But let me add one thing. You're applying uninterrupted compounding interest. You get to save and spend on the same dollar without losing any earning potential of that dollar. Or, as sometimes I explain, if you do it for cars or investments or anything, you get to make money twice on the same dollar. But I'm going way too far into this. I'm getting out of my lane. Get back to what it is, the flight to safety. Stop taking risks now. Get ready for what's coming, which is the winter season. Prepare your family for what's about to happen, and that is so simple. Sit on the sidelines and wait for it to come to you. Sometimes that's the best thing. I'm gonna finish with a story. You've probably heard this story, but acres of diamonds. There was a man who lived on a big farm, and he had a big creek that ran through the back part of his farm. And he had started hearing these rumors of all these diamonds people were finding in other areas, in other countries. And he started thinking, oh my gosh, I maybe should sell my farm, because then I can move over there and I can become wealthy and find diamonds and I'll be rich. This farmer does exactly that. He sells his farm with that beautiful creek in the back. He travels overseas looking in search of diamonds, has no knowledge, does not know, like, and understand diamonds, doesn't even know what they look like, but he's searching for something he doesn't know. He doesn't find it. He spends all of his money, runs out of money, he's going broke. He jumps off of a bridge and ends his life. The person that bought his farm was taking his donkey through the creek one day, and he noticed a shimmer down in the rocks. He pulled out a stone. It had a very unique look. Didn't know what it was, put it on the mantle. Another day, someone came to his house and was looking at this beautiful shimmering rock, and he said, where did you get this? So this person walks him back to the creek and says, I got it right in the middle of the creek, and there's lots of these stones. They're all over the place. That stone that was sitting on the mantle was one of the biggest diamonds ever found to date at that time. That creek in the backyard had hundreds of diamonds, if not thousands of diamonds. That original farmer was sitting on acres of diamonds, but he gave it all up in search of going and finding diamonds somewhere else. The grass is not greener on the other side. If you constantly are searching for something, just know that what you're looking for is probably right under your feet. You just are not paying attention. That's the best advice anyone could give you. Look it up. It's called Acres of Diamonds. You can read the real story. But with that being said, folks, get ready. Get ready for the winter season by finding the flight to safety. Follow the path of the birds. Migrate yourself to safety. My name's Chris Naugle. This is an episode of What Now? Well, what's next for your flight? If you want to go deeper into how the infinite banking concepts work, check the link out in the description or scan the QR code to learn more. Or you could just watch this video right here.